Hey guys, and welcome back to EQ Planes, and today I'll be introducing a new kind of airport update to the channel. This will be my first retro update and something I've been wanting to do for some time now. Featuring today, we have my retro update for Vancouver in 2006, but I'll also have a Calgary 1988 update coming to the channel as well. And for the foreseeable future, as I get more airplanes that I can put into these updates, you'll see these updates come out every once in a while. Mixed in with my regular modern day updates. And finally, before we get into this update, I'd like to talk a little bit why I chose Vancouver 2006. Now, despite 2006 only being 17 years ago, a lot has changed in the aviation industry since. Along with that, it was also the year I was born, so I was pretty interested in doing this. Considering that the internet was around back in 2006 in a fairly large capacity, I was able to source a lot of information through websites like Jet Photos or Wikipedia that have been around for a long time. I mean to create a really accurate depiction of the aircraft and routes in that time period. But now, without further ado, let's start this update with this British Airways 747-400, which is departing out to London Heathrow today. British Airways has used plenty of aircraft on the Vancouver route in the past. However, they used to send their 747-400s really consistently. They actually did send their 747s all the way up until 2019. When then 2020 came after, the aircraft was retired and obviously it's not been in Vancouver since. So now they tend to use their 777s and sometimes the A380 as well. And here we have, holding short of the runway, this Mexicana A319. He'll be making a departure out for Mexico City today. Taxiing behind him, we have the Pacific Coastal Shorts 360, which will be making a flight out to Nanaimo today. Now, definitely wish Gemini Jets would release a Pacific Coastal SAB 340 in the new livery, considering they still do have a very strong presence at Vancouver Airport. The closest thing they've done to a new Pacific Coastal aircraft has been the WestJet SABs, which are operated by Pacific Coastal, but it's not quite the same. Now, within regards to the Shorts 360, I believe this is the largest aircraft Pacific Coastal ever operated it, and they operated it in between 1995 under contract with Canadian Airlines originally, and then eventually retired the type in the early 2010s, I believe 2012 to be exact. Following him, we have this Air Canada 767-300ER, which will be headed out to Kahului today. Now, the Air Canada 767-300ER in the toothpaste livery and the Lufthansa 747-400 in their old livery are tied for my favorite aircraft of all time. So definitely glad to be able to use these aircraft in my update. Unfortunately, with the advent of the pandemic, Air Canada retired their 767s back in 2020, but definitely have plenty of good memories flying it between Calgary and Kahului. Next up, we have this Canadian North 737-200, which has been doing some charter work down in Vancouver and is headed back up to Edmonton. Next up, we have this Lufthansa A340-300 going out to Frankfurt today. Now, Lufthansa still does from time to time use their A340-300s on this route. However, during 2006, it was predominantly the A340-300 on this route, with the 747-400 being interspersed there, but now it tends to be predominantly the 747. However, both the 747-400 and A340-300 are likely soon to be retired by Lufthansa, so it'll be interesting to see what they put on this route in the future. I have a feeling it will most likely end up being the 787s. However, when the 777Xs are delivered, I could definitely see them using that as well. I have a feeling it could be the A350-900s or A350-1000s on this route in the future as well, as I have a feeling despite the A350s currently only being Munich-based right now, that's likely going to change in the future. Here we have taxiing an Air Canada E190, which will be headed down to San Francisco today. Now, in 2006, the Air Canada E190 was newly delivered along with their E175s. Now, unfortunately, the E190s were also retired in 2020, as they were predominantly replaced by the A220. The E175s are still operating with Air Canada, however, they are operating now under Jazz and the Air Canada Express brand, and only exclusively in the eastern part of the country. Now, sitting here at gate, we have the Air Canada A340 in the old livery, which will be headed out to Seoul today. Now, during 2006, the last A340 was painted out of these old Air Canada colors into the toothpaste color scheme, and that goes for the A330 and A320 family aircraft as well. However, some 767-300ERs continued to wear this livery all the way up until 2008. Another kind of interesting thing regarding Air Canada's livery change at this time was they would tend to put decals on the tails instead of repainting the entire aircraft initially. So during this time frame, you would have seen lots of aircraft in the old livery, the full new toothpaste livery, and a sort of hybrid livery floating around. Next up, we have this Air Canada Jazz CRJ900, which has just come in from Regina today. Definitely miss these old Air Canada Jazz colors a lot. They started repainting them into the toothpaste livery around 2011-2012. 2010-ish, not sure on the exact date there, and most delivery had disappeared by the end of the 2010s. However, all the way until 2021, aircraft and Air Canada -8300 in the green Jazz colors stuck around in that livery until it was then retired, almost as a sort of special livery aircraft. So yeah, I would definitely like to see Air Canada Jazz paint a CRJ900 into these old colors as a retro aircraft. I know they still have one CRJ900 left in the toothpaste livery, which seems to be in pretty rough condition now, so maybe it could be that plane. Parked over here, we have the WestJet 737-600, which has just come in from Calgary. Now, definitely interesting to see just how much WestJet has grown over these past 17 years, as during 2006 they retired their last 737-200 and had in a fleet of exclusively 737 NGs at this point, including the 737-600, 700, and 800. Now, unfortunately, they do not operate the 737-600 anymore, as it was one of the aircraft retired through COVID. However, they still do operate the 737-700 and 800 from this time frame. So yeah, I would definitely like to see a WestJet 737-700 released by NG models, not only so I could use it in this update, but it would prove very useful in my modern day updates as well. And next up, getting ready for a flight out to Dallas, we have the American Airlines Md80. Definitely miss seeing these around the airport. They were always kind of a cool sight. But yeah, glad I can use them in these updates now. And parked right next to him, we have this Northwest Airlines A320 in the bowling shoe livery, which will be headed out to Minneapolis, St. Paul today. And here we have the Delta 757-200 in the wavy gravy livery, which has just come in from Atlanta. Although Delta no longer serves this route to Vancouver, WestJet will be starting flights between Vancouver and Atlanta in May of 2023 coming up here. And now here we have, pushing back out of gate, this Air Canada 767-200, which will be going out to Toronto today. Now, Air Canada did retire the 767-200 much earlier than their 300 ERs back in 2008. However, they were a fair bit older, having been delivered in the 1980s, being some of the first 767s out there altogether. Now, finally, here we have the US Airways 737-300, which will be making a flight out to Phoenix. Now, although it was mostly US Airways A319s, A320s mixed in with the America West stuff as they were emerging at the time, they did still sometimes see service from the US Airways 737-300. Anyways, that's it for this update. Definitely some more models I'm looking to get in the future for this update, like a United Airlines A320 in the Battleship Gray colors, Alaskan Airlines 737s, among other aircraft. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and hope to see you guys back next time.